Hello, everyone. Today is October 12th, 2019. I come to you wanting to tell you a little bit about my story and what happened to me. I wanted to let you all know that it's a lot of things that's going on right in your backyard, and you probably never knew it was going on. Wanted to tell you what happened in my situation. Um, the government, and I'll say this, let me start with this. I had an issue. I had bought a home about 10 years ago, and I've had an issue as of the last, I want to say 6 years, with the Homeowners Association. As you know, Homeowners Association, I thought that they were there for the upkeep of the neighborhood, and come to find out they're not just there for the upkeep of the neighborhood. They're there to, I don't know, I guess keep some sort of order, or and I'm not at all opposed to order. But when you buy a property, my understanding of buying a property means that you own the property. And if I didn't agree to a lot of the terms that the Homeowners Association is imposing on me. Okay, I only agreed to the upkeep of the neighborhood, them upkeeping the neighborhood, and that was it. I didn't agree to anybody micromanaging me, telling me that I need to power wash my home or I need to cut my grass. I've always cut the grass, or telling me it wasn't cut good enough, you need to recut it again, or telling me you need to change something was discolored, so it needs to be colored again. I'm not opposed, like I said, to the upkeep of the neighborhood. Okay, but something as minute as a door frame. You need to paint the door frame. Maybe the weather has weathered the door frame. You need to paint the door frame. It's fine if you suggest that to me and I do it, but to impose unnecessary fines and fees, that's ridiculous. I think that's a little overboard. But furthermore, my issue started in on or about 2015 with the Homeowners Association. Really, they started before then, but really they decided out of about 250 homes that they would take me to court in reference to the fines. I would pay the fees, but I wasn't going to pay the fines. Okay? So I paid my Homeowners Association fees, but not the fines. Okay? They were starting to just get too petty with, oh, you can't park your car in the driveway. It has to be parked a certain way. I mean, it got really, really petty. And so they started fining me $25 a day. Then it went to $50 a day. And what I learned in the process was the banks, the Homeowners Association, they all work together. And so, long story short, they ended up taking me to court. And the lawyer and the judge knew each other. The lawyer and the judge decided that they were going to pull a fast one on me, and they did. They got a default judgment against me by serving my son was maybe 13 or 14 years old at the time. And they served a child, and then it was the wrong name. They served the wrong name. So we didn't think we had the right, we didn't open up anything. We wouldn't have opened up anything because it was addressed to the wrong person. And also they served a child. And so they got a default judgment against me. Okay, they entered into court, and from then on, they forced me to do research. They forced me to do things that I didn't want to do as far as defending myself in court. And as the time went on, 2018, they decided that they were going to issue some sort of, they issued me some sort of contempt of court warrant. And what they did was, I've never missed a court date. I'm not in the habit of missing a court date. Okay? What they did was they issued a court date that they never issued to me. So I didn't show up because they never alerted me to the court date. And the court date was sometime in July, which I didn't know anything. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was. I know I got arrested in June, so I don't know when the court date was. There was a court date, and I didn't know when it was. But nevertheless, because I didn't show up to court, they got the warrant approved so that they could pick me up for an arrest for contempt of court. And you would never guess what I was arrested for. I was arrested for not filling out documents, the interrogatories for the Homeowners Association. They send a thick packet, wanting to know your financials, wanting to know, wanting copies of your driver's license, all of your licenses, all your professional licenses, all of your IDs, which I had already given them that in 2016. Okay, and I advised the court that they were given that in 2016 along with a bunch of other documents. When I gave it to them, I put it was in a pack of documents, and it was listed and filed in the court that they had received it. Okay, but nevertheless, they arrested me for not filling out the interrogatories for the Homeowners Association. Okay, so they arrested me on June 28th. Okay, I spent a month in jail. No court date, no nothing. They wouldn't allow me a court date. They didn't bring me to court, nothing. As you know, you need to be when you are arrested on a charge. Okay, contempt of court for Georgia holds no more than, I think it's 20 days you have to do. If you get charged with contempt of court, they can hold you for no more than 20 days. And for another, I don't know, I saw another statute, but it's no more than 20 days. Okay, but when I looked at the code, they said 10 days, really. Okay, I was in there for 30 days, had not seen a judge. Okay, when I did see a judge on the 30th day, they let me out for a month. And what they did was they gave me a court date from jail, so I knew what the court date was. The court date was scheduled for September 5th. Okay, so I had to return. I was out for the month of August, and they said they were giving me a chance to fill out the interrogatories. Okay, so I then filled out the interrogatories. I didn't put any other records on file until I didn't put any records with it like I did before. All I did was fill out the interrogatories again, and I filed them to the court, and I addressed it to the court, and it was the Superior Court of Douglasville. Okay, you all can go and look up what I'm saying to you, and I'll also show some pictures on the screen for you. You can look this up for yourself. Okay, so I was already arrested that one time on the same charge. When I went back to court September 5th, okay, I got re-arrested for the same contempt of court charge. This time what they said was I didn't fill out the documents, the interrogatories adequately enough. And so they re-arrested me on the same charge. Okay, that was double jeopardy. Okay, this time they held me for a total of 6 months. Okay, in that time frame, I'm locked up for 6 months. I have 6 children. Okay, in this time frame, and let me mention to you, when I was having trouble with the Homeowners Association, I realized that the home and the Homeowners Association and the bank was working together. Because at that time, in 2016, that was around the time when I found out that the way they processed my mortgage was illegal. And I alerted the bank to what I knew, and I provided the information. And they were supposed to validate who they were, because at this point, they were servicing a loan that they had no permission to service. Okay? And if you need more information on that, I don't want to make this video extremely long, because I have a lot more stuff to cover with you all. But leave a message for me in the comments, and we can talk a little further about the banking emergency and how all mortgages are illegal. Okay? And so once I alerted the bank, immediately I had stopped paying them. I had stopped paying the mortgage. Okay? That next month, after I stopped paying the mortgage, they put the house up for foreclosure. Immediately. Once they were alerted that I knew what they had done, because I alerted them and let them know that what they had done. They put the house up. It couldn't have been, I think, the next month. It wasn't even 2 months. I don't even think I was 30 days late before they started posting up for foreclosure. And so the foreclosure, I submitted some other documents, and the foreclosure was held up. They couldn't foreclose, okay? Because for one, I had transferred the equitable interest of the home from me to a trust. If you look up my name for Douglasville, you'll find that my home was listed under Knowledge is Power Trust, okay? If anybody know anything about trust law, they have violated a bunch of stuff. Okay? So in that time frame, the first time while I was arrested, what they did was they suspended my filing authority. I didn't know that was possible, because freedom of speech and freedom to redress a court is always a right. Okay? Not a privilege, it's a right. Okay, so they suspended my filing authority, so I couldn't file any paperwork. So they wasn't taking any of my paperwork. The stuff I had filed for the home, they had started the foreclosure procedure, and the stuff I had filed for the home, well, this was 2016. I think I skipped. This was in 2016. The home was, we had gotten it out of foreclosure, but since then it was in and out of foreclosure up until May of 2018. I had then tendered payment for the property, and the property was fully paid in full. Okay? So there was no way that the bank and the homeowners association could come at me on that level, because they were changing their amounts, they were going up and down. My mortgage was already high, so I was struggling to pay the mortgage that they had, and they kept adding on mandatory. The taxes was already on, but the taxes kept going up, and I couldn't understand how the taxes kept going up when the value of the property wasn't moving. Okay? And so, anyway, the payment was tendered for the home in May of 2018. Okay? All filing authority for anybody was suspended. Okay? But they went on to attempt. They didn't attempt, they did it. They went on to do a foreclosure while I was incarcerated, while I was kidnapped. While they had kidnapped me for my children straight from court. Okay? Now, what they did while I was in jail, I had over 10 years worth of stuff. I had 4 businesses. Okay? So all businesses were not operational while I was falsely in prison. Okay? My children, I had to depend on other people to look after my children. Okay? And also, they just didn't provide me anything. They didn't provide me anything. So what I was really incarcerated for was for the paperwork that I was filing. They didn't like the way I was answering. They didn't like me defending myself. It wasn't that I did anything wrong, because contempt of court is a civil matter. It is not criminal. You don't get arrested, okay, for contempt of court, not for what I was arrested for. If you sass a judge or whatever and they give you 10 days, they'll tell you right then and there how much time you're getting. You just don't hold, you can't arrest somebody and not give a time and just say, oh, she's in there until, okay? They saying that I willfully refuse to fill out paperwork, which is untrue. If you go back and look at the records, it's public record at Douglas County Superior Court House. It's all public record. And so there is no way possible I'm just going to willfully not fill out paperwork. Okay? And so while they had me arrested and I was in jail at the time, I talked to my family. I talked to the children. An investigator came to see me in jail the first time that I was arrested. The 30 days, the first time. She came to see me in jail and let me know that she thought that my children was home alone. And I told her, I said, ma'am, for one, I have a son that's old enough. He's 19 years old. He's home with the kids, and I have other people looking in on the kids. No, I went there myself. I know for a fact that they're left alone. I said, ma'am, if you know that, then why are you here? Why are you here instead of DFACS? So they called DFACS. And I get a visit from DFACS in jail. And then I get a visit. I had dogs as well. So my neighbors let me know that the police were there and they were trying to get in and they couldn't get in. Okay? Because I told my children, you don't open the door for anyone. And my neighbors was there watching the children, and they let them know, you're not going over there, don't open the door, don't communicate with them at all. And so the lady dog pound comes to visit me saying the dogs are undernourished or whatever. And just as I was being released, they just so happened they came back out again saying they had to see the dogs or there was going to be some issues if I didn't respond. The day I got out of jail, which was August 1st, from the first time I was arrested, the dog pound came and they saw that the dogs was okay, but they were making frivolous complaints from in jail. And I know that the complaints came from in jail. It was no way, because like I said, the investigator came to see me, and some things she said, DFACS was saying the same things. So the complaint was made from inside the jail. Okay? So that was the first vendetta. That same vendetta carried over into my second time going to jail, which is September 5th. In that time frame that I was in jail, the same investigator, they were looking for something on me and they couldn't find anything. So they just had me for contempt of court. But then when I went to court, they were saying I did some other stuff. I was doing bank fraud. I was doing some. I said, well, where's the charges at? Where'd you get this from? I said, no, this is something that y'all were talking about. You were talking about in the area. You were telling my neighbors this because they came back and told me. Okay, and so that was slander. That was defamation of character. Okay, and then my neighbor called me and let me know that they put a notice on my door to foreclose, to do a dispossessory. And I'm thinking, who ordered that? Where would that come from? Right here, this is governmental, jurisdictional people that's making these calls. Because it's no way it could just happen no regular person can do the things that were done. So while I'm incarcerated in their jail, they do an illegal dispossessory. Now what they were looking for because over the years I filed a lot of paperwork. I had a lot of evidence against them. They were looking for evidence. And they dispossessed my home, which was held in trust, and also the trust home. They dispossessed trust property, and every piece of property that they took belonged to the trust. Okay? The payment was tendered for that property. It's no way you had any right to that property. So they basically stole the property. They took it, and they took all the content that was in it. And like I said, I had 4 businesses. I had a lot of merchandise in the home. A lot of stuff was brand new, and I'll show you pictures. Okay? But this type of thing is happening right under our nose, and we need to wake up. Okay, people? We need to unify and we need to get together against this. We need to stop this black and white thing. We need to stop this race war because it's bigger than that. Ownership of property is 9/10 of the law. Okay? And they don't want you to have any type of, they want you to be totally dependent on them. The government is what I'm talking about. They want you to be totally dependent on them so they can control you. Okay? This whole thing is about control. They don't want you to have any say in what you say or do. Okay? And you need to know that the United States and United States of America is two different places. Okay? We are the people of the United States. I was born into the United States of America, not United States. United States is a corporation. Okay? Do your research on that. I'm going to drop a lot of things on you, and I'm going to ask you to do research. And if you have any questions or comments, I'll make an email. I'll have an email address for you if you want to do something a little more personal, or you could make comments at the end of this. Okay? And at the end, what I'll be asking you all for any type of help you can give. If you can give me any type of help that you can offer, if you can make any calls, if you could do any research, if you could give any money, I'll give you my GoFundMe page. I'll attach a GoFundMe page to this, and I'll also do a Cash App. The Cash App is going to be Beloved 2002, and I believe it's a money sign after it. Okay, and that's BELOVEIT 2002. I have 6 children. Okay, I'm gonna finish with the story. While I was in jail the second time, they dispossessed the house October 9th of 2018. That was an illegal dispossessory. Okay? The law says that you have to notify an individual and give them an opportunity to remove their things. I was incarcerated. How could I have had the opportunity to get anything, let alone notification? When I got out and I asked the sheriff's office, did they know anything about it? They told me they didn't know anything about it. When I was asking questions, they act like they didn't know anything about the dispossessory at all. Okay? So, and you can check into that. Okay. So I was then released January 17th of 2019. Okay? In that time frame, they took my children. Actually, I'm not going to say that they came for my children. They came and tried to take my children, but they couldn't get them. Because they, like I said, they were attended by adults, and they never opened the door, and they never came. They were never there alone, and there was always an adult there. Okay? So they weren't able to get them. But what happened in that time frame was I had a cousin. My son's cousin. She was asked to come and look in on them. In the process of while she was looking in on them, you have no control over what people do and how they turn out. Okay? She was taking merchandise and stuff from the home, and she had a motive that everybody kind of knew she had something going on, but we didn't think that she was going to do this. What she ended up doing was she took the children and she took the dogs from the home without my permission. If you do an open records request at the jail for around 2 weeks, let's say a week before October 9th of 2018, you'll find that I kept asking her repeatedly to take my children and my dogs back to their home. But they're going to take it. I don't care what I have. It was somebody there that could handle that, and they would have to take all of them out of the house at the time because that home was paid for. Okay? She refused to take my children and the dogs back. She kept them for about a week, so she used them as access to get in and out of the home, to get what she wanted. And she also had access to the store where I had a lot of investments there. a lot of investments. I have a lot of investors that invested in me, which I end up, I bought merchandise and all that stuff through investors. Okay? All that was taken. Okay? And that's a lot of stuff, a lot of money. We're talking about a lot of money that I owe to investors now because these people were ruthless. Okay? In the process, what she did, she kept the kids for about a week and she took them and sat them on DFACS steps. Okay? Right before the dispossessory. The day before, which was October 8th, 2018, she sat them on DFACS doorstep. DFACS had no other choice but to take them in. But in the process of my battle with them, sometime about 2015, I also found out that we had some Indian roots, Tsagi Cherokee Indian. And so as I traced my roots back, we found out that the area that we lived in, well, it belonged to a family member. Okay, so we're descendants of the area that we live in. Okay, and a lot of property that's in that area belongs to us. Okay, and so this is rightfully and this is lawfully. That was expressed to them, that was sent to them, to the banks, that was sent to the sheriff. This was sent to a whole bunch of people. Okay, so that they could stop their illegal practices. They did not stop. They kept moving. And so they now have the property, which is 9/10 of the law, and then they have my foreign children. Okay? And I advise them of this, and I advise them that there's a special way you handle foreign children. Okay? Especially Indian children. They went on to tell me in court that they could not because our tribe was not federally recognized. They couldn't. They had to keep moving like we wasn't Indian. Okay, so that's another violation. Okay, so then they had my children. Okay, they gave me such a hard time. They were telling me from jail that I couldn't move in this area. I had to stay in Douglasville, which is in their jurisdiction. When is that ever an issue? When are you ever told that you can't leave a county? That's what I want to know. Okay. They were telling me who I could move with. They wouldn't let my children. Most of my family is out of state. The children's fathers, except one child's father, he was here in Georgia. He had that child, the one child. The other children's father was out of state. They wouldn't let the family come get these kids. They wouldn't let my oldest daughter come get these kids. They wouldn't let nobody touch these kids. And that was an issue because everybody was trying to come get these kids and they wouldn't allow them to, putting them under unnecessary scrutiny. It was unbelievable. It was one train wreck after another. And so what I will say to you all is to be very careful, because this is not only happening to me, it is happened to several other people. Okay? Where you're just getting arrested, and the brutality and all the stuff that's happening, it was just terrible. Okay? A mother of 6 children. So they took my children. They mistreated my children while in foster care. Okay? They wouldn't allow my children to come see me either for 6 months. Okay? So in this time frame, when I got out in January, I had no house. I had everything for these children. I had a job. I had everything for these children. When I got out, I had nothing. I had nowhere to go other than with family members and tribal members. If it wasn't for them, they wouldn't allow my family members and my tribal members was trying to file documents on my behalf. They were trying to fill out the interrogatories. They weren't allowed to do that. The judge he told people that he had strict jurisdiction over the case, which I've never heard of that either. And so they were just denying everything being filed. I filed habeas corpus, everything being filed. I tried to get an attorney. I could not get an attorney because contempt of court is a civil charge, not criminal. You can only get an attorney when there's a criminal matter. Okay? So a civil attorney was starting out at $10,000 for representation. Okay? So I wasn't able to do that. So the little money I did have, I had to save and put towards the children. Okay? So in the process of while the cousin dropped the kids off, in the meanwhile, she's running up my credit cards because she had access. She had access to the codes and stuff because she got it from my older son. Okay? The way she got access was she had my keys. I released my keys to her from jail. But my keys, she didn't have access to the pocketbook and stuff. The keys was in my pocketbook was in the car. But she had to move the car from the courthouse because I got arrested straight from the courthouse. So she was supposed to turn the keys back over to the kids. My oldest son, she wouldn't do it. And to my neighbor, she wouldn't do it. She kept a hold to the keys so she can come in and out the house freely to get what she wanted. Long story short, everything gone. Everything. All cars, everything gone. All assets, all investors' properties, gone. In just a blink of an eye. Okay? Then I get home and I expect to get my children back as soon as I get out because at this point, the kids were only in care because I was in jail. Okay? They tried to say that I left them, I did all this stuff. I wasn't going for that because that wasn't true. Okay? If anything, the system failed those children because they didn't care who and how and where they were at. They didn't care anything about that because they grabbed me straight from jail. They didn't give me an opportunity to make any type of arrangements for those kids. They have failed those children. Okay? They broke their heart. All their stuff is out. For what? The home was paid. The payment was tendered for the home. So how could you do that to those children? Okay? And you say you operate for the best interest of the kid. That was not in the best interest of the children. Okay? And so they telling me from jail how they were being abused and it was nothing that I could do. Okay? Nothing. Family members were trying to get them and they were trying to call every day. DFACS wasn't answering the phone. Ridiculous. Okay? And so what I would say to you people is look around you. See what's going on. Open your eyes. Okay? I didn't break any laws. I didn't do anything to anybody. I didn't do anything. I'm not a lawbreaker. Okay? Okay, when I get home, I have to start all over. Try to put clothes on my back. And then DFACS wouldn't give me my children back, saying I had to find a job. All of this stuff I had before this happened. So I had to find a job to get my kids back, and I did that, and I got them back. In the process, there was a whole, and you need to look this up, do your research. It's called judicial gang stalking. That is when you're blackballed from everything. Okay? I couldn't get a job anywhere. Okay? I couldn't get benefits. I couldn't get any type of food stamps. They gave me a problem with Medicaid. It was just always an issue. Some type of stupid excuse as to why I couldn't get it. It was always something where it didn't make sense. Okay? I couldn't work anywhere. Just banned from everything. Okay? This has to stop, people. Pay attention. We are the people. We have the power to stop these lawless people. They want to label you criminal. You are criminals for little things that you do, but they are the biggest. The government is the biggest criminals I've ever seen. Okay? I am not the only person who had their house stolen from them. And when you stand up for yourself, they want to try to silence you and arrest you. Okay? When I got out of jail, I went back to my home. Okay? And when I went back to my home, they must have told the neighbors. I don't know what they told the neighbors. I don't know what transpired. But I know they were watching the house. Now, nothing was ever said that I couldn't go back to the home. It was never stated that I couldn't go back to the home. It was never stated. They didn't even acknowledge doing the illegal dispossessory. Okay? They never acknowledged that. I go back to the home. Everything's cleared out of the home. Now, at the time, I didn't know exactly what was going on. I heard, it was only hearsay. But at the time when I went to the house, all the rugs was taken up. I mean, everything. The place looked desolate, empty. And I just, even if they did a dispossessory, why take up all the rugs? Like everything. Okay? Then I get the bills. I get the electric bill. I get the water bill. I get the gas bill. Everything is in the thousands. Okay? All the bills were ran up. And I'm wondering, I'm in jail. How did this happen? All of this happened while I'm not there. So in the pictures, you'll see some lights. It looks like every light on in the house. They must have left water running because I could see where the ceiling caved in. They left water running. This is purposely now. Because they know this property does not belong to them. Okay? People, do your research. So while I'm there at the home, I get a light flashing in my window. Now, if you're in a home, if the police come to your home and they believe that you're an intruder, they could bust down the door and come in and get you. But that wasn't done because I wasn't an intruder. They were. So they start flashing lights into the home, into the windows of the home. And it's just me at the time. I got my youngest son back. I hadn't got the other children back, but I got my youngest son back into my custody. So it's just me and my son. And I said, I'm going to have to get up and I'm going to have to leave because I don't want them to try to say I did anything and they hurt me in front of my child. So we get up to leave. But a little later, first I let them leave. The cops left because they were looking around the car. They were flashing lights in the car. They were trying to open the door. They were trying to break the door open. For what? The car is private property. Okay? It's insured. What's the issue? It has a temporary tag on it. Okay? What's the issue? So I said, okay, we got out the house. We left the house. And I went to a friend's house. And I'm parked outside the house talking on the phone to another friend. I told my friend I would be in the house. It was within the same neighborhood. And I'm outside the house, but parked a little further down by the bushes. Lights off, keys out of ignition. I'm sitting in the car with my child. And I'm talking on the phone. The cops come. It's about 5 something in the morning. I'm getting ready to take him to school. So the car wasn't moving. Like I said, the key wasn't in ignition. The lights wasn't on. You would have never known I was there. You couldn't see me. I was parked by a wooded area. The cops pull up behind me and tell me that somebody called and said I was there. And I'm thinking, who could call and say, who could call and complain? They couldn't answer that. So I'm asking them to leave me alone. You know, I said, this is private property. This vehicle, this conveyance is private property. And let me say this to you, and let me make it very clear. I am not, nor have I ever been, a sovereign citizen. I've never claimed to be a sovereign citizen. I've never stated that I was any sort of sovereign citizen. So I reject anybody's offer to presume, anybody's presumption of me being a sovereign citizen. Because as you know, sovereign citizens are enemies of the state. I am not an enemy of the state. I'm not trying to harm any part of this state. Okay? And so they issued me tickets for a suspended registration. Can you please let me know why my registration on my private conveyance, my private vehicle, would be suspended? Now, that's another conversation. You all need to look up right to travel. You have a right to travel unencumbered and unhindered. Okay? The state is failing to tell you a lot of stuff like registrations, like driver's license. You don't need those. Okay? But that's a whole nother subject, and I don't want you to go off and do something crazy like, oh, Keisha said no. I'm telling you to do your research. Okay? Any questions or comments about that? We can talk about it. But you have to do research before you jump out there and start doing this, trying to come against these people. Because remember, these governmental officials have been doing this long before you. Okay? And you have to cross all your I's and dot all your T's with them. And even sometimes that's not good enough. All right. In any case, they issued me tickets for, I had a temp tag, which I'm never going to register another vehicle again because I don't have to. My vehicles are private and they're not used in commerce. Okay? I'm not using them for business purposes. Okay? They're private. Okay? Household goods is what they consider, which you don't have the right to tax them. You don't have the right to put any other type of fees on that. And I'm going to leave it at that. But they issued me 2 tickets for, one was for, I guess, altering the dealer's, because the VIN number, I think it was a number off or so. And they asked me why the number was off. I said, it was probably a typo. And they issued me a ticket for that, for having I guess they said I altered the VIN number on a license, on a temporary tag, and then they issued me a ticket for failure to register the car. When I went to court for this ticket, when I tell you, when you know better, you do better. When you know something and they know that you know it, they kept threatening me with contempt of court, and I'm gonna show you that they threatened me with contempt of court. They threatened to take my children away. I had my children in the courtroom. They was like, "Are those your kids?" Well, if you don't, they try to make me plea. I don't plead. I don't plead guilty. I don't plea. Okay? First and foremost, you have to prove to me who you are. And you people have every right to ask who somebody is. I don't care who they are. I don't care whether they're a judge, whether they're an administrator. I don't care who they are. You have a right to know what jurisdiction you're in. Okay? You need to know that. These people are debt collectors. That's what they're not telling you. They're debt collectors and they're coming after you to fulfill a debt. Okay? The court and the judicial system is a big business. They make a lot of money. They have a lot at risk if they're exposed. And I'm here today to expose, okay? Expose, if nothing more. If I don't do anything else, if I could only reach 2 people, I'm here to expose these people and let you know the truth and nothing but the truth. Okay? So please, if you can help in any way, that I would appreciate it. That's wonderful. But my ultimate goal is to provide knowledge for you, to expose these people for who they are. They are crooks. They are dirty. And what they're doing is completely and utterly wrong. And in order for us to get somewhere, we have to band together. Okay? And we have to help. We have to be helpers one to another, like the Bible said. Be helpers one to another. Are you your brother's keeper? The Bible says that you are. Okay? And I'm asking you guys, if nothing else, just look up what I'm saying to you. If you have any questions about what I'm saying, just look up what I'm saying. You can look up the case numbers. When I show you the photos, you'll see what I'm talking about. When I show you, I scanned in some documents. When I show you the documents, I'm going to show you. As a matter of fact, let me do it right now because this is getting really long. It's been 45 minutes already. And I do apologize you all for the lengthy recording, but I wanted to kind of give you an overview, a full overview of what's going on. Okay. This is some of the stuff. This is the stuff. And I'm just going to slide through these pictures. You know, this is what they did. All lights on in the house, in the home. None of this stuff I can get back. None of it. Okay? And that's me. Here's the family. Just want you to get a look. Just want you to get a look at the family. Wanted you to see that we're people. Okay? Let me get to the documents. Oh. Let's see. Where'd they go? Hold on. Let me pause. I'll pause for a second. All right, people. I'm back. Okay. Here we are. Let's see what this is. Okay. Let's see. Okay, guys, this is my name. This is the date I went into custody. Okay. All right, that's the arrest date. There's the charge. Sorry, guys. There's the charge. Okay. Let's see if we go to the next one. Maybe not. Okay. Okay. Here we go. And this is the same case number now. Since then, they tried to put another case number there, but this is the same case number, the same charge. Okay. This was the date, 9/5. Okay, and I was in there ever since until I was released again. Okay. This is the release order from the judge. And this judge is wicked. Okay. Same case number. This is the order stating that I willfully failed to obey its order regarding the provision of the post-judgment discovery. Okay? All right. Get a look. Take a look. All of this, you have the order numbers. If you check Homeowners Association, check on what I'm saying. Call them. Ask questions to them. Make them accountable. Okay, this is the illegal notice that they put on my door. The illegal dispossessory notice. This is Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Okay, which claim that they didn't know anything about this. And I know it's kind of difficult to read, but basically it's saying October 9th, 2018. We had 10 days to get our stuff out. I'm in jail at this time. Okay? You see the release date. I didn't get out to January 17th. How did I have an opportunity to get my stuff according to law? Or to respond to anything? Okay? All right. All right. This is what they threatened me with when I went to court for those 2 tickets the first time in Douglas County. The first set of tickets was from Douglas County when a cop pulled behind me in a parked vehicle, not running. They pulled behind me, asking me why I was there, and I kept telling them it's none of your business. You don't have to tell them why you're there, none of your business. If I haven't broken the law, if there's no injured party, you don't have to tell those people a thing. Okay? Because when they bring a case against you, they have to have evidence that you have hurt somebody, you have done something to break the law. I had done nothing to break the law. You don't get to question me and interrogate me and investigate me. Okay? And that's what they did. This is the case number. They told me that this is one of the things they threatened me with. They made an order for me to give my fingerprints, my DNA. I have to give you my DNA. Look up the law. You do not have to give DNA. Okay? You don't have to give mugshot pictures. You don't have to do any of that unless you've proven guilty. I was not proven guilty. Why was the registration suspended other than some fees? You cannot force someone to register a vehicle, a private vehicle. Okay? You cannot force anyone to do that. And you cannot suspend their registration or anything else because they didn't give you fees. It's against the law. Okay? The state, I'm telling you, read up on Right to Travel, guys. The state have failed to tell people. And also, I asked the young lady to give me, I want to see a law, not a statute or a code. You show me a law. Law is made by whom? Congress, not the state and no other. Okay? Show me a law, not a statute and not a code that says I did something wrong. Okay? So they ordered for me to have fingerprints or they were going to rearrest me. This is an order. And they did this when they realized that when I asked them, I told them I don't plea in court. They scheduled me. They put a plea in for me. They entered a plea of non-guilty and scheduled me for a trial, which is November 4th. Okay? A trial that I did not ask for. Okay? Okay. And these are the tickets. These are a copy of the tickets. You can look up the ticket numbers. This all here. These are the tickets. They pulled behind me and this is what they did. These are the tickets that they issued. And why do you have to sign? Please tell me why you have to sign. I would love to know the answer to that question. It's the first ticket. Now, because there's a bounty put on my back, I was in another county. They pulled me over and also gave me tickets. Okay? Excuse me. Okay. This is the other county. Okay? And just know that this is nationwide. It doesn't have to be in a specific county where you had the issue with. If one county puts a bounty on your head, it's a bounty throughout the state. It's a bounty outside of your state. Okay? This is how I signed it. But initially I did refuse to sign, but I was forced to sign. Okay? And these were the same tickets. A suspended registration. Only the one additional ticket was they wouldn't look up my insurance. So they gave me a no insurance ticket. I had private insurance at the time. And they didn't bother looking it up. And so, and then they kept threatening me with jail, saying that a suspended registration holds up to a year in jail. Okay, this is the third ticket. Okay. This is, I went to court for that, the 3 tickets, the last 3 tickets. And this is what happened when I spoke to the prosecutor. He entered a plea, which I told him I do not plead. Okay? He entered a plea for me. This is the court date. It's coming up. Okay? And this is what he said, because I told him. I gave him some documents showing that I'm not in his jurisdiction. Okay? He then writes this, and I told him I need something to write and stating what their jurisdiction was. Okay? He went on to tell me that he's going to subpoena officers, and I said that still doesn't explain or show me in writing how you obtain jurisdiction. Jurisdiction can be challenged at any time, people. Okay? And jurisdiction must be proven. It has not, because they're trying to collect a debt from me. I have a right to ask them to validate that debt. Okay? Show me where you're coming from. I'm showing you where I'm coming from. I'm showing you that I am a citizen of the United States of America. Furthermore, on top of that, I'm also Indian. And I come under a whole nother jurisdiction. Show me what jurisdiction you come under. It's real simple. You have to prove that. It has not yet been proven. Okay? People, we have to get this thing, we have to get together. We have to combine together and be helpers one to another. Please, guys, please. Like never before. We have to help one another out. My family, we left desolate. We're left living in such a way that we weren't used to living in. But God is always, he will always provide. And he has provided. But what I'm saying, guys, any type of help that you could provide, any type of, any lawyers want to take the case, we can talk. Any researchers, anybody is really good, use your gift. Whatever your gift is, it is well appreciated here. $1 a day, a dime, no amount is too small. Okay? No amount of time that you put in just by making a statement or telling us, giving us a way to research something. Anything that you could do to help us will be greatly appreciated. Okay, people. If you want to get in touch with me in a more private setting, if you don't want your comments to be read by everyone, my email address is Jones, Jones, Keisha, Keisha, 2002 @gmail.com. My YouTube channel, please subscribe so we can share information. We could start a networking channel. It's at Sharing Knowledge to Build Power on YouTube. Okay? Guys, please, please, please share this video. Please share it. I know it's long. Please share it. One thing I did forget to tell you that they did to me also, which was the Douglas County Police, the Sheriff's Office. When I went to go file kidnapping and dognapping charges against my cousin, they would not allow me to file those charges. So she's free and for stealing, and she went into the store and she stole a lot of stuff. And so they wouldn't allow me to bring charges against her at all. In neither county. That happened in 2 different counties. Neither county would they allow me to do that. So guys, please, 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 any information, please, anything that could help. I'll also kind of give you a perspective from, I have a child, she's awake now. I'll let her tell you all her perspective on what happened. Hang on one second.
In foster care, they didn't let me see my mom while she was in jail. They left us with these bad kids. And we were at first me and my brothers were at first split up in different foster homes. I was split up into an all-girl foster home, and they were split up into an all-boy foster home.
How did they treat you?
They treated us wrong. They let the other foster kids hit on us and blamed it on us, and said that the other foster kids were innocent and we always got in trouble. They always made us do work.
Okay. Okay, guys, there you have it. That's a little bit of perspective from a child that was taken, ripped from her home, the only home that she's ever known. And there you have it, guys. Please, 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 all your help is needed. The GoFundMe page, I think it's under Keisha Jones, and you have the spelling KEISHA, and Jones, JONES. The Cash App. Okay, the name is, it's going to be $ before the name, BELOVEIT 2002. Okay, thank you all so much for your assistance and everything. Please, please, please share this, guys. I don't know. We just need to, I don't know what else to say. Thank you all. Have a good day.